The Abbey stands tall against the morning sky, a place of elegance, a place of secrets. Every stone whispers of the past, every window holds a memory. But this time, the silence carries something heavier. The weight of goodbye *, the first light of dawn spills across the countryside, stretching over rolling fields and misty hills until it reaches the towering walls of Downton Abbey. The house rises like a giant, calm and unshaken, yet within its quiet halls a storm is waiting. Candles flicker as servants move quickly through corridors. Silver is polished until it shines like mirrors. Curtains are pulled open to let in the pale light of day. The Abbey is waking, but not for an ordinary day. A carriage pulls up to the grand entrance. Hooves echo sharply against the stones, a rhythm that sets hearts racing. The driver steadies the horses while a footman hurries to the door. From behind the tall windows, shadows of the family appear. They watch, they wait, as though the arrival of this single carriage will change everything. Inside, the air is filled with a strange mix of excitement and dread. The staff exchange quick glances as they prepare the grand dining room. Silver trays are laid with perfect precision. Crystal glasses are placed one after the other, each catching the light like a spark. At the head of the table, a single chair seems larger than the rest, a throne that carries the burden of family honor. The narrator's voice echoes with quiet power. This is not just a house, it is a legacy. Generations have walked these halls, carrying dreams, betrayals, and hopes. And now, the final chapter begins. The camera sweeps through the Abbey, showing its grandeur in flashes. The library where secrets were whispered late into the night. The ballroom where love once danced under golden chandeliers. The chapel where prayers were spoken for both victory and loss. Each room tells a story. Each corner holds a ghost of memory. Yet today, the Abbey feels different. The music is softer. The shadows are longer. Even the walls seem to lean in, as though they too are listening, waiting to hear what will come. Outside, the camera lingers on the gates of the estate. Villagers gather in small groups, speaking in hushed tones. Some faces are filled with hope, others with sorrow. They know that whatever happens inside those walls will ripple far beyond them. The Abbey has always stood as a pillar of power and tradition, but change is no longer a visitor at the door. It has already stepped inside. The narrator's voice rises with emotion. Every ending carries the weight of every beginning. Every farewell is a reminder of all that was cherished. Downton Abbey is ready for its last bow, and the world will never forget it. The screen fades to black. A single sound remains, faint yet powerful, the echo of the Abbey bell tolling. In the distance, a signal that the story is moving toward its final hour*. The Abbey rises in full daylight, bathed in golden light as the sun climbs higher. Its towers and windows gleam like watchful eyes, keeping secrets locked within. The great gates swing open, and the carriages roll in, wheels crunching over the gravel path. Every sound feels sharper today, every movement heavier, as though the ground itself knows this will not be an ordinary gathering. Inside, the Abbey is alive with motion. The staff hurry across polished floors, their footsteps echoing through the long corridors. Maids smooth out silk curtains and arrange fresh flowers in tall vases. The scent of roses and lavender drifts through the air, mixing with the warm smell of polished wood. The great chandeliers glisten overhead, ready to shine on faces that will carry both joy and sorrow before the day is done. At the entrance hall, a butler stands tall, his gloved hands folded neatly in front of him. Behind him, portraits of past generations stare down from gilded frames. They watch in silence, their painted eyes heavy with pride and judgment. The family begins to gather. A hand lingers on a polished banister. A veil is lowered to hide trembling lips. A young heir adjusts his collar with nervous hands. They do not yet speak, but their silence tells a story of its own. The narrator's voice deepens with gravity. These walls have seen victory and loss, love and betrayal. Every laugh and every tear is carved into the very heart of Downton. And now, as old faces return, the Abbey prepares to reveal its last secrets. The camera glides through familiar rooms, each carrying the shadow of memory. The library with its shelves towering high, where secrets once passed in hushed voices. The dining hall where silverware gleamed under the watchful eye of lords and ladies. The grand staircase, echoing with steps that carried triumph, heartbreak, and farewells. But today the air is different. Servants glance at one another, sensing change. Villagers peer from the edges of the estate, whispering about the return of those who left and the arrival of those who were never expected to come back. Tradition still clings tightly, but change presses at every door, determined to step inside. The narrator's tone shifts, steady yet filled with promise. The Abbey is no longer only a home. It has become a stage. Every guest, every servant, every family member has a role to play in this final act. Some will rise, others will fall, but none will remain untouched by the end that waits. The camera pulls back, showing the Abbey in all its vast beauty. The bells toll again, long and heavy, as though the house itself is calling its family together one last time. The Abbey is dressed in its finest, yet beneath the glittering chandeliers tension rises like a storm. At the long dining table, silverware rests untouched as eyes meet across the room. A single glance carries more weight than 1,000 words. A lord lowers his gaze, unwilling to challenge the silence. A lady lifts her chin with quiet defiance, her expression sharper than any blade. Somewhere in the drawing room, a letter is sealed with shaking hands. Wax drips onto the envelope, sealing not only words, but a fate that cannot be undone. A shadow falls across the floor as footsteps approach, each step louder, each step heavier. The letter is hidden quickly, but secrets have a way of finding their way back into the light. Outside, rain begins to fall, striking the windows in steady rhythm. A carriage races across the grounds, wheels cutting through the mud as though carrying a message urgent to wait. Inside the Abbey, voices rise. Loyalty is questioned. Promises are tested. A whispered betrayal is caught by listening ears. And in that instant, the fragile order of the house begins to tremble. The narrator speaks with rising force. Every tradition faces its breaking point. Every bond must be tested. Some will fight for love, others for power, but none will leave unchanged. The screen cuts to a clash of emotions. A door slams in fury. A tear streaks across a face that once held only pride. A glass shatters against the floor, sparkling like fallen stars. The Abbey is alive with conflict, every room carrying the echo of hearts colliding. On the staircase, two figures confront one another. One speaks with fire, the other with cold restraint. Their voices do not reach a shout, yet the weight of their words could break the very stone beneath them. Servants pause in the shadows, afraid to move, afraid to breathe, knowing they are witnesses to history. The music swells, carrying both sorrow and urgency. The Abbey seems to tremble as though it, too, feels the storm. And yet, in the midst of turmoil, there is a dangerous kind of beauty. For in every shattered bond, in every stolen glance, lies the truth of human hearts, fragile, fierce, and unforgettable. The narrator lowers his voice, steady and grim. This is more than a home, it is a battlefield. And the greatest battles are not fought with weapons, but with loyalty, desire, and pride. The camera draws back to show the Abbey at night, its windows glowing with firelight. Inside, shadows move against the glass, figures locked in struggle. Outside, the rain falls, harder, drumming against stone like the sound of fate itself. The storm of conflict softens, and in its place comes something deeper. Within the Abbey walls, emotions rise like tides, pulling every soul into their current. A bride adjusts her veil before a mirror, her reflection trembling as much as her hands. She whispers a prayer, not for beauty, but for courage. The veil lowers, her eyes glisten, and for one moment the grand halls fade away, leaving only a young woman caught between duty and love. In another corner of the Abbey, a farewell unfolds on a quiet platform. A train waits with smoke curling into the gray sky. A young man clasps the hand of someone he may never see again. Words fail, so they speak through their silence. His eyes plead for her to stay. Hers promise she will carry his memory wherever she goes. The whistle sounds, the doors close, and the train pulls forward, leaving the air heavy with what might never return. The ballroom flickers with candlelight. Music drifts softly as two figures draw together, their faces close, their embrace filled with years of longing. They sway gently under the glow of chandeliers. Around them the world has changed. Yet in this fragile moment they hold onto what has always been true, that love, even when bruised, even when threatened, finds a way to endure. The narrator's voice grows tender. Beyond the grandeur and the battles, beyond the secrets and betrayals, lies the heart of it all. Family, loyalty, love. These are the bonds that have carried Downton through triumph and tragedy. And they are the bonds that will shine even in its final hour. Servants pause in the hallways, their eyes wet with tears they try to hide. A child clutches a toy soldier in one hand and a mother's hand in the other, sensing change without understanding it. An old lord stands alone in the library, touching the spine of a worn book, his lips moving in silent memory of all he has lost and all he has protected. The abbey itself seems to breathe with them. The walls glow with firelight, shadows dance like spirits of those who came before. Every chamber, every stair, every corner is filled not with silence, but with echoes of love, sacrifice, and belonging. The narrator's tone softens once more, like a final promise. In the end, what matters is not the titles or the power, not the riches or the rules. What matters is the love carried in each heart, the loyalty that endures even when tested, the family that stands together even as the world changes around them. The camera lifts to show the abbey under a night sky filled with stars. Its lights shine warmly against the darkness, as though the house itself is holding onto those truths, guarding them until the very end. The abbey bursts alive with sound and light. Music swells through the grand ballroom as chandel is rain golden. Fire across the polished floor. Gowns sweep, footsteps echo, and the rhythm of the dance carries both joy and danger. Smiles shine, yet behind them hide fears too deep to speak. Every laugh, every toast, every raised glass feels like a mask over a truth that refuses to stay buried. The camera shifts to another corner where shadows fall heavy. Anger rises like a flame as words are exchanged in low voices. A hand slams against a table. A vow is made that will not be forgotten. Pride collides with ambition, and suddenly the beauty of the night feels fragile, as though one wrong word could shatter it all. The narrator's voice deepens with force. The abbey has always been a place of splendor, but now splendor is not enough. Choices must be made. Promises must be kept or broken. In this house, every smile hides a secret, and every step forward carries the weight of destiny. The montage sharpens. Lovers caught in a forbidden embrace. A servant overhearing a confession not meant for their ears. A figure rushing down the hallway, cloak trailing, carrying news that could burn the balance of power to the ground. The abbey itself seems to tremble as if its walls can no longer contain the storm within. Music climbs higher, strings pulling tight like a heartbeat that refuses to slow. The screen flashes between beauty and ruin. A toast in crystal, a tear across a cheek. A door thrown open to reveal what was never meant to be seen. The camera cuts to the great hall where shadows stretch long, the family gathered in silence, each one standing on the edge of a choice that will define them forever. The narrator's tone sharpens, carried on the rise of the orchestra. This is not just a farewell, it is a reckoning. What was hidden will be revealed. What was broken will be tested. And when the final bell tolls, the world will remember Downton Abbey not for how it began, but for how it ended. The camera pulls back to show the abbey blazing with light against the dark sky. Laughter, music, anger, and grief rise together like a single storm. The night is alive with both promise and peril, and somewhere inside, the last secret waits to be spoken. The music falls silent, leaving only the echo of the abbey bell. The screen fades to black, as though the world itself holds its breath. Out of the darkness, the voice of the narrator returns, calm yet filled with finality. This is the farewell of an era. This is the last bow of a legend. Golden letters appear against the black screen, bold and elegant, each word carrying the weight of history. Downton Abbey, the grand finale title glows with a soft radiance, as though carved from the very heart of the abbey. Beneath it, a single line fades in, a promise written for all who have followed this journey. Coming soon. The farewell of an era. Camera returns to the abbey one last time. Its towers rise against the setting sun, glowing like a monument of memory. Lights shine from its windows, warm against the growing night, as if the house itself refuses to fade into silence. The narrator's tone softens into a whisper, carrying both sorrow and comfort. Downton will always be home. The screen darkens once more. The music swells gently, then fades, leaving only the sound of the bell, tolling slow and steady, until even that disappears into silence. The abbey stands beneath the night sky, its windows glowing with warmth, its walls heavy with memory. Every stone carries a story. Every shadow holds a face that once walked these halls. The music swells softly, not with triumph, but with grace. The narrator's voice returns, steady and final. This is not just the end of a house. It is the end of an era, a legacy written in love, in loss, in loyalty. The camera glides over the grand staircase, the ballroom, the dining hall. Each room shines as though alive, yet empty now, filled only with echoes of laughter and sorrow. The abbey itself seems to breathe, a guardian of the past, ready to rest at last. On screen, the title appears once more in bold gold letters, Downton Abbey. The grand finale letters glow. As the narrator whispers the last promise, Downton will always remain in the hearts of those who loved it. Its story will live forever. The bell tolls one last time, long and solemn. The screen fades to black. Silence follows, leaving only the memory of what once was and the weight of what can never be replaced.